Why did God choose Israel to be his chosen people? Speaking of the nation of Israel, Deuteronomy 7:7-9 tells us, "The Lord did not set his affection on you and choose you because you were more numerous than other peoples, for you were the fewest of all peoples. But it was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath he swore to your forefathers that he brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the land of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God, he is the faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commands." God chose the nation of Israel to be the people through whom Jesus Christ would be born, the Savior from sin and death, John 3:16. God first promised the Messiah after Adam and Eve's fall into sin, Genesis chapter 3. God later confirmed that the Messiah would come from the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Genesis 12:1-3. Jesus Christ is the ultimate reason why God chose Israel to be his special people.
Well, and I don't know that we really answered the question, why did God choose Israel?
I don't think we have an answer,
no.
do we?
I would back up and say he chose a man first.
Abraham.
He chose Abraham, and he said, "I will bless them that bless you, and and curse them that curse you." So actually, he chose Abraham. And I just have to go back to God's sovereignty. Why? How come he didn't choose people from Iran or Africa? He chose his sovereignty. His ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. And I don't know that there's an answer to that question. Why did he choose Israel? Just his sovereignty.
Yeah. Why did he choose Abraham? Because he chose Abraham. There's really not a whole lot of other answers to that. Well,
God did not need to have a chosen people, but he decided to do it that way. Jesus had to come from some nation of people, and God chose Israel. However, God's reason for choosing the nation of Israel was not solely for the purpose of producing the Messiah. God's desire for Israel was that they would go and teach others about him. Israel was to be a nation of priests, prophets, and missionaries to the world. God's intent was for Israel to be a distinct people, a nation who pointed others towards God, and his promised provision of a Redeemer, Messiah, and Savior. For the most part, Israel failed in this task. However, God's ultimate purpose for Israel, that of bringing the Messiah into the world, was fulfilled perfectly in the person of Jesus Christ. The importance of Israel. God had chosen Israel for his treasured possession, out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth, Deuteronomy 14:2. We must get to know his beloved people for at least 5 reasons. 1. Their interactions with God reveal his character. The Bible demonstrates and displays God's mercy, righteousness, reliability, consistency, wrath, love, goodness, glory, power, etc. towards his fickle nation, Israel. 2. Through this relationship, God created evidence by which skeptics could test his omniscience, omnipotence, and goodness. 3. Jesus emerged from Israel. He told his prophets that God would come down, and he would be an Israelite whose lineage could be traced back directly through the great patriarchs. 4. Christ connected Israel with the new church. 5. By their pattern of sin and redemption, Israel repeatedly plays out the gospel and foreshadows the coming Christ. Israel and the character of God. Zephaniah 3 says a lot about the Lord's formidable anger, justice, and jealousy. He told his people what he wanted from them, but they disobeyed. He said, "Surely you will fear me. You will accept correction." v. 7. They did not, so the Lord promised, to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, to pour out upon them my indignation, all my burning anger, for in the fire of my jealousy all the earth shall be consumed. v. 8. His wrath would not burn forever, though. Later verses look forward to a time of relief, speaking of that day in the past tense as a reality in which Israel could place their trust. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you, he has cleared away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst, you shall never again fear evil. v.15. Israel had constantly turned from God to the worship of idols. They forgot his covenant promises, but he kept his covenant mercifully in spite of their rebellion. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land, but if you refuse and rebel, you shall be eaten by the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Isaiah 1:19-20. Christians rely on God's consistent mercy because, like Israel, we rebel and fall away continually. We need to revere him and trust that his discipline is good because by his righteousness God will punish those who oppress his people. We see Egypt's army crushed by the waters of the Red Sea. Later, we watch Joshua lead God's people across the Jordan on dry land to take possession of their new home. As soon as all the kings of the Amorites and all the kings of the Canaanites heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan for the people of Israel until they had crossed over, their hearts melted and there was no longer any spirit in them. Joshua 5:1. We tremble before him in awe and with love, but the enemies of God's people will be utterly destroyed.